So I guess bring on the injury graphic first. And so Andrew's done his press conference, and this is the list of injuries that we currently have going into Thursday. So Cuti Romero, Richarlison, Odebear, Vicario, Mikey Moore, and Mickey van der Ven all remain unavailable for Thursday. They're going to be long-term absentees. None of them, I don't think, are going to be seen in the new year. In more positive news, Bentancur obviously returns from his suspension, so he is going to be available for Thursday, as is Destiny Doggy, who wasn't 100% right and shed going into the game on Sunday, which is why he was on the bench. But he will be available, should be available, I should say, for Thursday. And slightly more positive is Ben Davies has returned to training over the last couple of days with an outside chance of being available on Thursday, but Ange has confirmed he's more likely to be available for the weekend and not Thursday. He said if he trains well today, maybe there's a slight chance he'll be available, but his gut is telling him that he's only trained 2 days since coming back from injury, and the more likely scenario is he'll be back for the weekend, so unlikely to see Ben Davies back for Thursday. So that is the injury news. Still lots of injuries to contend with, and especially at centre-back as well. But look, positive that some players are coming back anyway. So the more players back, the better. Let's bring on the lineup. Yeah, we've got it on there. Oh, do you want to resize him? Okay. So the lineup.
Here we go. Let's do it. Here we go.
Yeah, here we go. We've got it here. There, Brian, you're next to it. You can see it. So the particular lineup will go as follows. In goal, we are going to go with, of course, no one else but Big Fraser Forster, who's going to be in goal for this one. Obviously, he's not had the best couple of games, has he, Fraser, after some good performances. Are you worried, that his form has taken a slight dip over the last couple of games?
I'd be lying if I said no. Do I think he can get back to the games he had prior to the last two? Yeah, I do. Does worry me though with Chris Wood, a big battle axe being around him, and the form he's been in all season. But we've got no choice, have we? It's whether he's not going to play Whiteman or Austin, so he's got to get back into form.
Agreed. And look, he's going to have to be a lot better playing out the back, albeit Forest aren't kind of the team that press too high and always on you like a rash like some other teams. So maybe on that front, it should play into his hands. But look, we know that he's not been at his best over the last couple of games, and Forest are going to be well up for it. So he's going to have a good game, especially from set pieces. I think that's going to be crucial. Right back is interesting. So Pedro Porro and Jed Spence are both available. With a Doggy back, you'd think he comes into the team with him being a bit fresher maybe than the other players. So the question is, who do you play at right back? Porro has played a lot of football, does look on his feet at the moment, but he's also the senior right back, and Jed Spence has done well coming into the team the last few games. Yeah. But does Ange put him ahead of Pedro Porro in at right back at the start? What do you reckon, Brian?
Put it this way, if it was me, Jed Spence starts at right back. If Destiny's been out for a couple of weeks, whether it be a knock or he's not fully fit and they wanted to or rest him, whatever it may be, we know it was a slight knock, you could see Porro is just shot to bits. He is literally, he's knackered. And his form has not been good for the last couple of games. And I'm a big fan of Porro. And we were talking before about squad utilisation, and we know we're down to the bare bones. And I think we just need, for the greater good, to give Porro a rest. And I would say Spence, where are you on it, Tim?
I agree. I think Spence needs to play. I also think because he hasn't played so much this season, he's a bit fresher at this time, and he adds that bit more energy that we need at the back line. And obviously Porro, he tried to give him a break. I think it was away at Southampton, and then Udogie got injured, and so he didn't have a break in that game. And then obviously Udogie hasn't been able to play since, so Porro hasn't had his break yet. And I think this is a perfect opportunity to give it to him. And I think Spence has filled in more than good enough over the past couple of games. And as well, it's against his former club. It's a team he knows well. Obviously, I don't know how much the players of the current team he knows, but returning to his old team, I think it's a good scenario to put him back in. So I think Spence should come in right back, and then Destiny Udogie there will come in at left back, and that's what I think will be the scenario going into this game. And hopefully that should give us a bit more energy at fullback, where we've been struggling definitely over the past few games. Centre backs, I think no other option with I don't think he's going to risk Ben Davies by the sounds of things, and we've got no other centre back, so I think it's going to be Radu and Archie Gray at the back. Obviously it got found out a bit, didn't they, against Liverpool after performing quite well against United and Southampton and Rangers. Liverpool was a real eye-opener as to what kind of level they're really at as a partnership, and it's going to be a tough game against Forest team and against Chris Wood, who's in brilliant form, isn't he?
Oh, he is. But first of all, I will say when we get to the defence as well, when Arne Slot came out and said we saw the best place to go is put pressure on Dragusin, as opposed to Archie Gray, an 18-year-old midfielder who's now at centre back, that spoke volumes. They are down to the bare bones. They need to, but the thing is, against Rangers and against a few other games, they look very good together. They looked composed. They looked that they could do the job. But Rangers was not an easy fixture. All right, we conceded, but they looked like, okay, for a couple that have just been thrown together, they look like they could hold their own. And like they said, they've got Chris Wood, who is a big powerhouse. And if they try and pin on Archie Gray for strength, we could be in trouble that way.
That was something he struggled with on Sunday. I think that aerial challenges with Szoboszlai and some of the other players, I think he got bullied a bit.
Let's face it, you cannot blame Archie Gray for an 18-year-old kid that's just come in and said, right, play out of position. Could he be a bit more courageous or a bit more going with a bit more oomph? Yeah, maybe. But I'm not going to hold anything against him for it as an 18-year-old kid in the wrong position. But that defence, you look at it's kind of picking itself, isn't it?
At the moment, I think needs must. Maybe Ben Davies will be on the bench just in case anything does happen. And
would you risk him?
Fill in there.
If it was, would you risk him coming on? Like we saw with, look, if we look at Chelsea, when we rushed Van de Ven back and Romero came back, look what happened there. Do you risk doing that and then something happening? I mean, it might not, but I wouldn't touch Ben Davies in this game. I'd want him fit for hopefully Wolves or the beginning of the year.
Okay. Next up, we're going to go look in midfield, and I think obviously in the 6 or the double pivot, Bentancur returns from suspension. So for you, does he go straight back in?
After Bissouma's performance against Liverpool, yeah, he does. For me, but then you look at it, is he fit enough? He played against, who was it he came on against? And
Rangers he played, and he played in the other Europa League game, I think it was Roma.
Yeah, so against Rangers, I thought in the first half, I came on to the show after and I said I thought Bentancur in the first half was brilliant. But then there was a lot of mixed, no, he wasn't, he gave the ball away, he weren't fit. But and there's a lot of talk about the substitution, wasn't it? Why did he go off when he should be the freshest player and we can rest players? Is he fit? Is he match fit enough? Don't know. But I would, for the way Bissouma played against Liverpool, I would start Rodrigo.
I agree. I think he needs to come in. We need those fresh legs.
Yeah.
Now, next up, some interesting selection. So who we go with in the 2-8s, because Sarr started on Sunday but came off after 65 minutes because I think he was running on empty. Obviously, Maddison scored, but again also went off on the hour mark on Sunday. You've also got Decky, who could come into the 8, because we know that's his true position, and we'll talk about Brennan in a minute, but with him not playing much, there's a good chance Brennan comes back into the team. And you've got Lucas Bergvall, who could potentially come in. Or you could even go with Bissouma and Bentancur potentially in this one as well. Away from home, do you want 2 strong midfielders? So a lot of different options there. But what do you choose going into this game?
I'm really torn. It would either be Sarr and Kulu, or Kulu and Bergvall. I think we got to see some more of Bergvall.
So we both agree. I think I agree as well. I think Decky definitely comes into the middle.
Yeah, he 100%. And then you got the other one, and it would be between Bergvall and Sarr for me. It would be between Bergvall and Sarr. Just because Bergvall has got that little bit about him and can play deep and see these passes. Sarr has got the legs. Maddison, I just, in this game where I think there's going to be, Forest are a powerful team. They got runners. I don't know if Maddison's going to have one of those games where he's really, really hot or he's really, really cold. And if we've got a load, if Forest are just planning to run us all over the shop, you can't start James Maddison, in my opinion. So it'd be Bergvall or Sarr for me. What about you, Sim?
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think Maddison needs to come out and we need to put in one of the other two players. I would even consider Basuma potentially as well, maybe play next to Bentancur. But for some reason, whenever we play them together, it's not quite right. I don't know why. I don't logically, those are two players that should work well together, but they don't, or they haven't yet, I should say. So maybe. Sarr obviously played 90 minutes against Southampton, 90 minutes against United, and then played 65 minutes and was running on complete empty against Liverpool on Sunday. So does he go completely fresh, bring in Bergvall, who did well against Southampton, and just give that a go? I'm leaning towards Bergvall just because he'll be a bit fresher. It's a good opportunity for him to show that he's can even play at a higher level than the Southampton game against higher level opposition, and maybe that little bit extra technical ability that he could potentially bring could that help us break down a very stubborn Forest team. And he even came on against Liverpool. I thought did quite well. Right when he came on against Liverpool, I thought he had a good cameo in my opinion. Was involved in the third goal as well. So maybe it's a good opportunity just to try and rest Sarr and Basuma if we can, who've been playing a lot of football recently.
Right.
And I'm going to go Lucas. But I've talked myself into it. I'm going to go Lucas Bergvall in the middle.
I'll tell you what,
have you been partnering him with the Swedish guy with Swedish partnership as well? Go on, what are you saying?
Yeah, well, I was about to say, have you become? I've noticed, I'm sure others have as well. Bergvall's got that bit of Dele Alli in him, hasn't he? He picks up yellow cards. He's got. He does. Obviously, you love players with that bit of bite. You love it. You don't take it out of their game, and he's showing it as an 18-year-old kid who'll put his foot in, but he's picking up a yellow card every game, isn't he? There's another thing that he's got to work on, but I love that he's got that bit of bite about him at such a young age.
Completely agree. Forward line would be interesting. So I think with Decky playing in the middle, we're going to go Brennan Johnson out wide. Again, another player playing against his former club. I'm sure he'll get a nice reception there. I think at the moment, only one real option we can have up front, and that is big Dom Solanke. I think he's going to have to retain his position. But I guess the awkward one is on the left. Sonny did look out on his feet on Sunday, and he's played did he play 90 minutes on Sunday, or he played what 70 minutes, 80 minutes? Yeah, but he came off not much time left, I don't think. But he did go off. Is it a case of, if Timo's an option, you give him a go, or do you say we have to have Son if he's available, and even if he's running on empty a bit, you kind of need to put him in?
I hate it's a bit of both. And for the sake of keeping Son fresh and keeping it, I would start Werner, because I think Son needs, like you said, he is playing so much football. We so desperately need our captain fit and firing, but we are running him into the ground as a team, and he looked exhausted on the bench after he came off. I think he'll start Werner. I've
got a feeling he might, like, if you're giving me a choice between Werner on Thursday or Werner on Sunday, I'll probably choose Werner on Sunday. Give him a go against Wolves, and I think this is a bigger game. I think we need Son in this game. If he can just make a bit of a difference, get one chance and a goal, and get us in the lead or something, and just have one moment, I think that would kind of be enough for me in this game to justify selecting him. I think it's such a big game for us. We need to make sure we get 3 points in this game to put us back in that hunt for the top 4. And I think our best bet might be Son. And I think maybe we can rest him on Sunday and put Timo in there for the Wolves game.
Let me counteract that. Would you say doing that, or would you rather have Son start, and then if he does tire, then you bring on Werner, when we could be chasing the game or whatever, or you have Sonny on the bench, sharp as the game's coming out to come and have an impact. Let's say 35 minutes left, like 65th minute, 70th, a fresh or fresher Sonny against a tiring Forest to come on and have that explosiveness and bit of difference and a real impact. We say Brennan Johnson is an impact sub, or people will say he plays better and he's more of an impact sub. Well, you don't get much better of an impact substitution to come off the bench to try and change that than Sonny, do you? Is it best to keep your secret weapon there and if needed, bring him on? Or do you play him and then he tires, you substitute him for Werner? That's the big question for me.
Yeah, I see both sides of it. It's difficult. It's a difficult one. I think Son is very much struggling, but hopefully the fact that it's Sunday to Thursday, that's enough rest day to think he could be a bit more fresher coming into this game than maybe he would have been on the other end.
Another question: if it is Werner, who becomes captain? Kulu?
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe Fraser. I think he's been given the captain's armband in other games. Let's go. I think we're going to go with Son. Son on the left.
There you go.
Going to do it. Sonny on the left. So if you look at this team, if we're looking at ways to freshen up the team, at least Doggy, Bentancur, Bergval, Brennan, that should that be enough freshness to think that we could at least put in a good performance in this game rather than running on empty like we were on Sunday.
I think before we go any further with that, we have to admire and say what a fantastic job Nuno and Nottingham Forest are doing at the moment. Mm-hmm. They are. Listen, this ain't the Forest of last season when we went there or the previous season. This is a Forest team that are extremely well drilled, very, very tough to beat, winning games all different kinds of ways, putting in he is doing a great job, and they'll be bang up for it. This team, you would want to think that Spurs could beat a Forest team. You would want to think, and on paper at the beginning, that you'd think that team could, but they are so well drilled. They're kind of reminded me when we had Poch. If a player went out, the system was so set in stone. Every player came in and knew their role and knew what they were doing. That's what's happening at Forest right now. It's like, right, we play this system. You're coming in, not asking you. It's the same. They look. If they lose a player, another one comes in. It's going to be a big ask. It's going because listen, they are flying at the moment, and they will smell blood. They will smell blood with us. But that team, like you said, there is freshness in Destiny. There is freshness. You'd say Spence, who has done very well in the 2 games he's come in. Certainly had some impact. Rodrigo back from don't know why I'm on first name basis with him all of a sudden. Bentancur's back. Is he fresh enough? Bergval for sure. And Brennan, you'd think, and like you said, there is the 2 ex-Forest players, so there's a bit of incentive for them and wanting to do well on their own stomping ground. That should be able to do a job, shouldn't it? It really, on paper, that should be able to do more than a job at Forest. It's whether they will.
And so at least add a bit of intensity into the game and into our performances, which has definitely been lacking, or definitely there was lacking on Sunday. So I think, is that a team that will definitely win? I mean, not necessarily. Is that a team that's good enough to win? Yes. Is that a team that should be fresh enough to win? I think so. And then you've got the likes of Basuma Sarr on the bench. You've got Maddison to come on as well if need be. All of a sudden, you look at that team, and all of a sudden you've got more options. It looks a lot healthier with the likes of Bentancur and Doggy back. So even Porro can come on and make an impact potentially. Yeah.
The big thing I will say, Simeon, as well, is we've been saying the last few games that midfield has been an issue. There's been no bite or no anything. You would say that midfield has got a lot of bite, a lot of energy. It's got a bit of everything, hasn't it? To kind of what we have been lacking in prior games in midfield. I think that 3 cover what we've been missing individually and collectively.
All right. So if that's the team, what's your prediction, Brian?
Mate, I'm gonna go Desmond. I'm going Desmond. Listen, Simon, I spoke about it. There's a player in Nottingham Forest that I would take right here, right now, if it was the only player we signed in January, I'd say it'd be a brilliant window, and that's Morgan Gibbs-White. I think he's exceptional. I honestly, in this system, I think it'd be brilliant, and he's a real concern for me. But Forest have got a lot of players to worry about right now, haven't they?
They do, and Hudson-Odoi is in great form. Look, let's get into a match preview. I'll take the line. I'll take the lineup away, and we'll talk. I also went for 2-2, by the way. That was my prediction.